Welcome to the One Person Business Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Carly Reese.
And I'm Joe Rando.
And I was just saying this offline to our guest today, how excited I am to have her on the show, basically for selfish reasons, because Aldreama, I feel like there is a lot that you can teach me today. But welcome to Aldreama Harper. She is a business organizing strategist known for her expertise in helping female solopreneurs streamline their businesses and maximize their productivity. As a solopreneur herself, she knows firsthand the juggling act that many solopreneurs face. Due to her own pack rat tendencies, it's so funny because I'm the same way, her passion for organization and efficiency led her to develop a systematic approach to help others declutter their businesses and create effective systems that save time, energy, and resources. She provides practical tools, resources, and guidance on how to streamline operations, optimize workflows, and implement effective systems. Her approach goes beyond just organizing the physical spaces and digital files, and she also focuses on mindset and productivity techniques to help her clients enhance their overall performance. Aldreama, we talked about this offline too, but I only scratched the surface of how in-depth your bio really is. So listeners, if you want to know more, she has a whole list of things she's accomplished. Feel free to check out our show notes or her website after the episode. But for now, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Carly. I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Joe. I don't take this for granted. I really do appreciate being on the show. And when I got your request, I was like, oh, yay. But then I was like, I'm kind of scared.
No, it's going to be great. If anything, you're going to have to keep me on task because I do have questions I want to ask for our listeners. But I feel like since I have so many questions personally that I want to ask you, I might go rogue. So just you two make sure to keep me on task and that I don't start asking things specifically for me.
Absolutely.
No problem. We can always do something offline too. So
okay, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
And you know what I love is in that intro is that you did what you did for like a very similar reason to why I did what I did, which is a complete lack of ability to kind of naturally organize the work I was doing. And that led me into building the Lifestar app. And you did the same thing because of organization being what did you describe it as? Organizationally challenged? What was it?
Pack rat. I have pack rat tendencies.
Okay. So
trademark that.
I know, right?
There you go. Well, let's get right to it. Again, I need to start with our audience in mind here. So where do you see solopreneurs struggling most when it comes to staying organized?
Wow, that's such a great question, Carly. I think mainly in this online community, in the online space, I see where a lot of solopreneurs struggle the most. They struggle with administrative tasks because they want to do all of that. They want to do their own accounting. They want to do their own social media. And there are so many platforms, there's so many automation tools that can help you do that. And so it's very tempting, though, to want to do your own accounting, to want to do, your own social media. It's very tempting to handle those things, on your own, your bookkeeping, because I did it myself. I wanted to, keep it in house. And so that's definitely one of the things that, solopreneurs need to keep in mind, because when it's something particularly like, bookkeeping that I just mentioned, it's something that I hate. So it's going to be time consuming. It's going to be, overwhelming. I'm not going to want to do it. I'm going to procrastinate about it and make mistakes. So, but it's definitely something that I see. And when I talk to a lot of solopreneurs, they just want to do it themselves. And that's, one of the most common things that I've seen so far.
Yeah. And that can lead to just being so overwhelmed for people. And you actually have this 10 steps, is that right, to eliminate the feeling of overwhelm? And I don't want to give away the goods because I want people to go check it out with you. But can you give us 3 of those 10 steps?
So those 3 are identify the clutter, set goals and prioritize, and create a plan. So the most important thing when you approach any kind of endeavor, whether it is, getting organized, whether it's managing your time, whether, whatever those challenges are, it's most important to identify and assess the situation. And so that's why I use that as the first step. The first step is to identify the clutter, take a look around the room, the space. Even if it's a small space, if it's your kitchen table, just take a look around and list the items that need to be removed. Because one of the things that I have found, even for myself, because I still have pack rat tendencies, like I said, but the space, you want to assess it because you are, if you don't know what you're tackling, if you don't know and don't have a plan for tackling that particular endeavor, or starting small with identifying what you're going to remove, you're going to be in overwhelm. You're going to instantly be in overwhelm because you are looking at the whole thing. Most of the time, I have found that clients, what they will do is they walk into the room and they see the whole thing, and they instantly get overwhelmed because they want to tackle that room all at once instead of identifying, the smaller items that they can tackle, right? So identifying the clutter is one thing. Set goals and priorities. You want to ask yourself, how quickly do you want to get started? How much stuff do you want to get rid of? Do you want to get rid of 90%? Do you want to get rid of 50%? What's the vision for the space, right? A lot of people don't even have a vision. What's the functionality of the space, right? And all of this helps you to stay focused, help you to stay on track, and really have a plan, and which takes me to the third one, create a plan for decluttering. I have found that, and again, I have to go back to myself. When I first started in the organizing space and I would help others to get organized, I would come in with a plan, but it wasn't a really good plan. I was really learning how to help others get organized. And so what I have discovered, what I discovered was I had a missing piece. I did not start out with decluttering. I just went in due to my own pack rat tendencies. I would go in and just start to organize their stuff, which is a huge, huge mistake. So that was really an inadequate plan, right? Because if you don't declutter first, you're going to end up, like I keep saying, organizing the stuff that you already have. And that's the one thing that over the years that I had to really kind of get a hold of was the decluttering first, because that is my biggest problem, getting rid of stuff. So
I have a question.
Have a plan. Mm-hmm.
As I look around my desk, I realize I don't know what the technical definition of the word declutter is.
Well, one of the definitions would be purge. So you want to remove everything that no longer serves the room or the space or no longer serving you. So it's just another word for purging everything. Because what happens is, again, you keep organizing the stuff that you have. So like if you have, pencils or whatever, you're just going to just organize those, and you're not going to remove maybe the pens or what have you that may be dried up. I just did that, a couple of days ago. I had a whole bunch of pens, and probably because I love pens. I love pens. I love office supplies. And so I had a lot of them that were just dried up. And so that's another term for decluttering. Just getting rid of the clutter, anything that doesn't serve you.
Cool. And I love that you love office supplies. That's
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm thinking about that Marie Kondo book. But she had a different definition, which was if it doesn't bring you joy, you get rid of it. But then I heard a comedian say that he read the book and took it to heart and got rid of the book.
Yeah. I mean, and I love her approach, as well. And, thinking in terms of what gives you joy, sometimes. And that really applies a lot to me. It applies a lot more to like items like, your clothing, maybe you're working on your closet and things like that. And I typically I like to focus on solopreneurs. So I really like to work in their offices. And so you may find some things that you may think they're giving you joy, but that may not be the primary thing to think about. Is it functional? Is it working for you?
Okay, so I'm curious because we were talking about decluttering, your workspace, everything. When it comes to workspaces, what are some things that people often neglect that you just see time and time again? I know for me, I never thought that natural light was such a big deal for me. And so I had this office in my house and I was like, oh, well, I can turn on the light. And I didn't realize what a big deal that actually having the sun in there was. I just didn't even think about it. So maybe that's not normal. But what are some things that you see often that you're like, to start thinking about this more because people fail to do so time and time again?
I think, and I know I've been using the word decluttering, a lot. But I think from what I've seen, it's really been the importance of decluttering first. I mean, because we want, depending on, what our office space, what you have in your office space. Like, I like a lot of stuff in my office space, but not all of it serves me. And so it's so crucial to look around and make sure that if it's not serving the purpose or the functionality of the way you work, then it doesn't belong in the office. What happens is a lot of times I've seen this happen where a lot of times my clients will look at other people's offices or other spaces and they want it to look just like that. And not thinking about the fact that this may not be functional for you. And so I think that's really an overlooked thing. I can't think of another word, but, a problem that a lot of people, they look at a lot of the reality shows, they look at, YouTube, they find, different things on YouTube. And it's like, I want it to look like that. But if it doesn't work for you, for example, I'll give you an example. What I discovered along the way was that looking at other people's way of organizing may not fit my way of organizing, but it doesn't mean it's not organized. Does that make sense? So if you see in my office here, I have a lot of containers. I love containers. And so for some people, that doesn't work for them. I can give you another example. My husband, we are totally opposite in organizing. Yeah. I'm one that likes containers. He hates containers. So when I organize stuff, I have to keep that in mind. And I think to answer your question about, what is the biggest thing that people neglect, I think it's the fact that they don't consider the importance of decluttering, and they don't consider the fact that not everything that they see is functional for them. Hopefully I made sense with that.
Totally makes sense.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears a little bit because we're talking a lot about the physical space for organization and decluttering, but you are so good about organization beyond just the physical space and how people prioritize their time and everything. Can you tell us your philosophy on time management and how can people be better at prioritizing the right things?
Oh, that is so good, Carly. I thank you for asking me that. So my philosophy on time management is that it's not about managing time because you can't. And people say that all the time. But what it is, it's about managing the agreements that you make concerning your time. And the thing is, we make agreements all the time, right? We make agreements when we wake up in the morning. And the thing that I tell people about that is, if you don't have an agenda, particularly as solopreneurs, if you don't have an agenda, by default, you're making an agreement with shiny objects. You're making an agreement with chaos. You're making an agreement with things just coming into your space that you have not considered by not planning the day before, or planning, for your time and allocating, in terms of what you were going to do the next day. And so it's really more about agreements. And when you have a plan for your day, you can handle it with more intentionality by honoring the agreements that you make concerning your time. You can stay focused, you can stay productive. One of the things that I always have my clients to do, even when we're going through the decluttering challenges, is to first, before we even get started decluttering anything or getting organized with anything, you make an agreement with yourself first. And the thing that happens when people do that, when they break those agreements with their self, they no longer believe what they tell themselves about time management, about getting organized, about any of it. And so they give themselves permission to do whatever, because they are not honoring an agreement that they should be making concerning the activities that they're going to focus on.
I saw a quote recently that was like, instead of saying, I don't have time for that, you say, I don't prioritize that. And it helps you realize like, oh, like I don't have time to work out. And it's like, well, no, you just don't prioritize working out.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, yeah. That really makes you think. I mean, it's so true. And it really made me reframe how I thought about how I spend my day.
Yeah, absolutely. No agreement, no commitment. You just do whatever you want, So yeah. You're just flying by the seat of your pants because you haven't made any type of agreements with yourself about what you're going to do.
I have a question on that. So I go and I'll plan my next day. Sometimes I'll do it the day before. A lot of times I do it in the morning. But what happens a lot of times is some fire comes up, right? Something comes up and it just gets in the way. Somebody's blocked or something. And all of a sudden my plan goes out the window because that time from 10 to 11:30 that I was going to write the blog is now being used to deal with some other issue. Well, how do you advise people deal with those kinds of unforeseens?
You always allow white space in your calendar, because no matter what, it's never going to be a perfect day, particularly in our lives, as solopreneurs. So you allow white space in your calendar, even if you plan it. I had a lady one time reach out to me, and she said, I really want you to coach me. She said, I want to have my calendar, everything on my calendar, blocked out, and I want everything organized from the time I get up in the morning until the time that I go to bed at night. I said, well, good luck with that, because I am not your coach, because that's impossible. You're just setting up. Yes. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Because we're always going to have. There's always going to be something, and so you just have buffer. You have a buffer. I always, in between, coaching clients or between things that I'm working on in my business, I always allow buffer time. Sometimes I just need to reset, and so it's a good thing to do to just allow some white space on your calendar, for emergencies, and you'll be fine.
What do you have a percentage of time you recommend to keep unallocated? If an 8-hour day, how many hours of the day should you allocate?
It depends. I arrange my calendar by categories. So Mondays, I don't do any interviews or, anything like that. So Mondays is I call it my ease into my weekday. So I'm flexible with my time. I allow myself to do, things that don't require a whole lot, but it allows me the time to kind of set up things for the week, kind of review my calendar, things like that. So that's Mondays. Tuesdays and Thursdays are, for me, are coaching days. So I will have coaching clients on Tuesdays, coaching clients on Thursdays. Wednesdays, I have a networking event. So that's allocated for that. So it just depends on the things that you have to do, but you can do it by, days, or you can allocate the time, according to hours that you want to work on certain things. It really just depends on you. So if I was to coach you, Joe, I would look at what you're currently doing, and we would do an assessment. Like I said, it always starts with an assessment, because I want to see how you work. What are some of the things that, that's priority for you, and so I would want to look at that before I said, okay, 90% of your day, or 50% of your day. So, because I think that everyone is different. And so you got to kind of find your own rhythm. And that's what I would help you do, is to find your rhythm.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So your space is decluttered. You have allocated your time. You've made your plan. Now you have the ability to be productive. Do you have any favorite productivity tips that you tell clients once they can actually hit the ground running?
Yeah. So just like what Joe was just asking me, in terms of how much time, one tool that I just love, it's called clockify.me. And I always will have my clients to look at what they're currently doing, just like I was telling Joe just a minute ago. But that tool helps you to see where your time is already being allocated. The thing that I like to tell people is that it's just like a budget, You got to see where your time is being spent first before you even start the ball, rolling, start your week, or whatever it is. And so that tool, it has been really, it has saved me. It has saved, other clients, because they get to see exactly where their time is being spent. Now, you can also just journal your time. It doesn't have to be something as, like clockify.me. But that is one of the tools that I always share with clients in terms of figuring out how productive they are and then tweaking, along the way. So did that make sense?
Yeah. No, I had a huge reality check about a year ago with my social media usage with an app like that. And I don't remember if it was Clockify or something else, but it definitely forced me to change my ways.
Yes. Yeah. Because sometimes you don't even realize it's just like, like I was saying with the budget. You look at, if you go through create a spreadsheet in terms of the money, you spend $5 here, on Starbucks or whatever, you spent, 5 minutes here, you spent an hour here, and you look at that and you're like, okay, that was not really a very productive day. Just like, with the budget, I spent my money on, when you add it up, if you go 5 times a week, you spent on Starbucks and you pay $5, which of course is more. We know that because, you want the fancy stuff, you spent $25, and you do that week after week, you spent $100 over the month. So, but that has been, one of my favorite tools that I, have people to work with up front to figure out, where are you spending your time?
Well, let's stick on the my favorite things category. And let's go back to the physical side of it. I love that you had your baskets there and that that's what you use. What are some other products you recommend that people purchase to get and stay organized?
So I want to answer that with a caveat, because when I'm helping clients, one of the first things they want to do is get organized, right? And so my approach is I save the organizing and tidying up, for the last thing that they do, right? So I love containers. I just showed you that. By the way, this came from the Dollar Tree. This is like $1.25. I have 3, 4, and I have a couple of them in my closet. So Dollar Tree is probably, my number one because I like containers. But what I wanted to say was it depends on your organization. Like I like containers. So that's going to be my favorite thing. Office supplies, that's my favorite thing. Like I love pens. I love journals. Like I love these things. And the reason I love these is because I can build my own. So, I am one that does not like to have paper that tells me what to do. Like, if it has a block there for the date and then it has just lines, I'm okay with that. But don't tell me how to block out, the areas on my, on my journal and stuff. But those are some of my favorite parts. I am one of those that's like really obsessed with that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have a label maker?
I do. And yes,
I do too. Really helps.
I love to label stuff. And when I've gone out to clients, it helps them as well. I had a client that we actually did like her kitchen. And so I had label makers that you can actually erase you can write on it, but you can erase it if it doesn't work. So those are the kind of label makers that I have, that I recommend, because you change your mind. I know I do. I change my mind in terms of what I want to call it. So, but because
I've got the little one that prints out on a sticky thing. And I use them for file folders because I can't read my own writing ever because I'm left-handed. And
I am too, Joe. I am too.
And so I use the label maker. But then the other thing I use it for that's changed my life is I label cords, like electronics cords.
Yes.
And it's because you go, oh, what's this one for? I have no idea.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because these little things, that
those you can tie the cords together. I have that in my home studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love these. Yes, because I don't like to see the cables.
And for people that are just listening in, it was one of those wraps with the Velcro that you can put around your cord.
Sorry.
And Aldreama was also talking about her journal notebook that she has that she likes to customize, that was visual, that was super cute. But basically just saying that how much she loves creating her own journals and not following the prompts that some come with, as well as these really cute bins from the dollar store.
I know. Now that we're video, we forget that some people are just listening. So
I know. That's why I thought I'd throw that in there. Mind. But maybe we can put to some of this stuff. Maybe we can become affiliates or something with the Dollar Tree and get something for these bins.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I'm already an affiliate with Amazon, so because I keep Amazon pretty hot.
There you go.
So what you're telling us, if you leave, Jeff Bezos his net worth is going down.
Probably.
Well, Aldreama, this has been so fun. I can't believe we're actually wrapping up right now. So we ask all of our guests this question, and we wanted to know your take. What is your favorite quote about success?
Oh my gosh. My favorite quote is by the late Zig Ziglar. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. That is my all-time favorite quote.
I feel like that applies to everything you've said today, with the plan for decluttering, the plan for time management, everything. I feel like that is the perfect recap.
Yes. I loved, I saw him in person, one time before, years ago and stuff. But that was my biggest takeaway. I was like, absolutely correct. So yeah.
Just a little shameless plug. At our event coming up, which actually will have been already occurred by the time this gets put out, but we have Greg Rutan speaking about sales. And Greg used to, I believe, he used to tour with Zig Ziglar and do those sales things back years ago. And but he's going to speak at our Solopreneur success sessions about sales without the sleaze. But anyway, so I hope you'll be there.
Oh, I plan to.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And since this will be past that event, be sure to tune in for our next Solopreneur Success Sessions. Looking at lifestarter2hours.com to check it out.
That's right.
And Aldreama, since we just did our own shameless plug, let's plug you. Where can people find you if they want to book a consultation, get to know more, all that jazz?
So for a 15-minute consultation, they can go to chatwithdream.com. I try to keep it simple. If they want to know about my events, they can go to de-clutterwithdream.com. And any other links, they can go to aldreamaharper.com.
Perfect. Love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know I needed this big time. I hope our audience feels the same. And yeah, speaking of organization and staying organized as solopreneurs, we have an app in development that will help solopreneurs do just that. So be sure to go to lifestarter2hours.com, click on our tools, and you can get updates there. And we have a lot of other great resources for solopreneurs as well. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.